Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bigger Than Race. You know who this is? This is your boy, Brando. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with some Vechain news in today's video. But before I dive in, I want to thank all of the subscribers, the likes, and the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are not in the Patreon group, please click the link in the description box for more information that is not seen on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I guarantee you there's information in there that will make you money, help you not lose money, and help you with your knowledge of cryptos and the investments in the right projects. Ladies and gentlemen, we do our homework, and we will constantly bring you our truths, whether you like it or not. Now let's go. Now, you know how I feel about Vechain, and you know how I feel about China and Singapore. Now, ladies and gentlemen, right here, we're going to watch a little video, which is very important into understanding Vechain. It says here, the United Nations Development Program, Asia Pacific Agri-Food, which would be agriculture, Innovation Summit, Food Traceability Project, November 2020. Big focus on Vechain / Walmart traceability use case. Let's go.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizer, Asia Pacific Agri-Food, for inviting me to share my research. This research is done jointly with Mr. Arman from UNDP, and today we want to talk about blockchain for food traceability. These are the examples of companies that are integrating traditional technologies and blockchain. Today, I want to talk specifically about food supply chain, and the companies of interest are Dimutu, Vechain, Infocorp, Veritech, Commerce, as well as GATS. We all know that digitalization of food system has improved international trade efficiency. It has reduced transaction costs across the entire supply chain, and accelerated the liberalization of global trade. However, it has become more complex, and they require new solutions to tackle inefficiencies in the supply chain, and also the issue of trust among the stakeholders. But gladly to announce to everyone, we have a new technology called blockchain, and the blockchain technology can address the issue of trust by decentralizing control of data and also the information. And also it can integrate with Internet of Things. We can track the flow of information autonomously collected from all stakeholders in the system, and the convergence of big data and adoption of blockchain technology can help to build a more efficient system. A traceable supply chain is advantageous not only to the consumer, but also to participants in the supply chain. So in addition to lack of transparency to consumer, food supply chain can currently face two major problems. The first one is trust. Traditionally, companies participating in the supply chain will each have their own database, and they will store the data about products and transactions, not accessible to other people. And these are known as centralized systems. Without their permission, you can never view those data. But what happens if the produce is damaged during its journey? We have to find out how, when, and why this happened. We will have to go back to the data source. And this data source will usually be controlled by either the supplier, or maybe the buyer, or maybe the consumer association, or any third party. But even as a third party, there is always a question, how independent is this third party? That brings us to the question of which is the single, how independent is.
I want to actually go over this. It says, who is the trusted party? And what happens if produced? For example, avocados being transported from a farm in Chile to a supermarket in Singapore is damaged during its journey. To find out how, when, and why this happened, each participant in the supply chain will have to retrieve the relevant information from their own private database in order to resolve the issue of responsibility. But will each participant trust that the others have kept their records accurately in their centralized system and are reporting them honestly? If a dispute arises between two parties and the resolution of that dispute relies on a third party, we have to trust that third party. This is where blockchain and traceability comes into play. However, in many food supply chains, the independence of that third party will be questionable. And that's true in the traditional market, We know things are manipulated, and now things have to be trusted. So blockchain comes into play, and we can see everything. We know what's going on.
Is this third party? Now that brings us to the question of which is the single version of the truth. Here is an example by Dimotu. You have on the left the Peru supplier with a photo, on the right the Singapore buyer have a photo, both about the same supply of the same avocado that they have. Which is the truth? That is the question. The supply chain is so complex. You have the farm, then you will move it to the pack house in transit to logistic, to the distributors, the retail and consumer. There's so many stakeholders, so many parties involved. Can we tag every single fruit? Can we tag the carton? Can we trace and track every transit, every time they're in transit? The answer is yes. The first step is digitization and the creation of digital record of a product in the supply chain. Second step is called tokenization. It's a version of this digital record shared by everyone in the distributed ledger. And in the Dimotu ecosystem, the first step is to scan the QR code, and then you convert it into a digital asset, which is the step 2, and thirdly, put it onto the platform, and fourthly, using the app with a good user experience so that everyone can have access. So this will bring visibility to the trade. You can see all the photos where every time you move from one place to another in transit, you will have all the traceability using the IoT to have the photographs. So the second major issue besides trust in the food industry is cost, in particular to do with documentation. And documentation of records transactions is a huge source of inefficiency. So you need to produce a certificate of origin, bill of lading, holding certificates, and so on. By submitting and tracking this document, you actually incur a lot of cost and inefficiency, especially you have to submit it physically. And this is estimated to about 20% of transportation costs. In some countries, the process will take about a week because you have to travel, you have to submit physically, and so on. So is there an easier way? Yes. The company GAS came out with an easy solution that you can submit a certificate of origin electronically, and you know it's an e-COE. And once you can e-submit this on the blockchain, then the problem is solved. So such a transparent system created a way of tracing responsibility, which can help to protect both buyers and sellers. And also, it minimizes food wastage and facilitates greater efficiency in the international trade. So buyer and seller will have an independent history of the counterparty. Any mishap in transit can be accurately traced. And this encourages everybody to be responsible, and therefore products are not damaged and mishandled. Blockchain and private storage system can be used concurrently as well. Usually, the blockchain will be used to store the cryptography hashes, while the private data storage system are used to store the original document like photos, shipping certificates, or product measurements such as temperature and so on. But it's all up to the design. And blockchain can be used in conjunction with other technology as well, such as QR code, RFID tags, and also NFC. And this technology can provide food products with unique identity, allow them to track along the supply chain, and also facilitate efficient payment services. So the information stored by QR codes and RFIDs is fed into the blockchain and recorded on the ledger to be shared up and down the supply chain. Another technology that we talk about is smart contract. Smart contract is not only an electronic version of a physical contract, but it's more than that. It is actually a set of codes which distill the terms of an agreement. So when certain preconditions are met, the codes will be executed autonomously, and basically the agreement is being enforced. And because there's no third party involved, the cost is very low. So the cost of trust again is lowered using the smart contract. One company called Vechain combined QR code with the smart contract, and they are tracking the fish, salmon, especially between Singapore and Europe. And the other company called InfoCorp, they have an app called FarmTrack, and they use that to trace livestock. Here you can see that the livestock is being traced, and you have a cow token, and the cow token is there, and insurance company can insure, and insurance company
They have a cow token.
Sure. Then the lenders will be lending out in lower rates.
If you want some cow, Just make sure the cow doesn't come from Walmart.
And therefore the token also can be traded. And another company, Commerce, they do collateral management using blockchain. They gather the data and give people who would like to do trade a reputation score. And with that, they onboard the third-party financer as well, and also logistic companies, so that everyone has got reputation cost, and that determines the pricing. Well, blockchain promises to be especially beneficial to emerging agriculture-dependent economies, and we know there are a lot of countries in Africa, in Asia, and South America are agriculture-based. That is a very powerful enabler for having a more equitable system, because when you can trace and track the supply chain, you do price discovery, and we all.
Oh, don't start this now. Don't start this now. 2 more minutes left. Blockchain technology can redistribute power evenly to all the actors in the supply chain by providing material and timely information and offering greater equality of control over the flow of that information and the execution of transactions. By employing such tech, emerging economies that depend on the food and agriculture sector will be better placed to achieve sustainable growth. Now, internet been acting a little crazy, and I'm sure it's happening globally. And please do let me know in the comment box. I really do believe that this cyber pandemic thing that they've been talking about, you're seeing glimpses of it. Now, I don't think we're going to get him to finish talking. He just disappeared on me. But ladies and gentlemen, I will link this so that you can actually find it, or you can just type this here, what you see, United Nations Development Program. He talks more about Vechain and Walmart towards the end. I wish you could hear it, but unfortunately we might not be able to. And one of the comments said this is probably one of the best explanations of why Vechain is so important to producers and consumers. I highly recommend watching it. I simply just read the slides and thought it was a good refresher of why Vechain will be so useful in the supply chain. Also, nice little shout out with Walmart China towards the end of the video. So yeah, guys, that's that. Let's go over to this next article. Vechain partners with U.S. firm to power 102 billion seafood industry.
Know that.
Now he wants to come back. It says Vechain partnered with No Seafood to use its toolchain-powered Storybird application for transparency in its supply chain. Customers can now trace their seafood from the farm to their plates. Vechain has partnered with the U.S. startup No Seafood to bring transparency to multi-billion-dollar seafood industry. No Seafood will use Storybird, a supply chain traceability platform powered by the Vechain blockchain, to allow its customers to trace their food along the entire supply chain. Announcing the partnership in a blog post, Vechain revealed that the No Seafood will implement Storybird, a transparency application powered by the company's blockchain as a service platform toolchain. No Seafood customers will now be able to trace their seafood from catch to plate. Vechain prides itself on having the fastest lead time for blockchain implementation in the industry with the latest offering. Farmers will be able to upload harvesting, processing, and harvesting information onto the Vechain through a blockchain. This data will integrate with the Storybird platform for access by the consumers. To cater to the less tech-savvy farmers, the platform comes with easy-to-use templates. And that's one of the benefits of toolchain. That's why it's on-ramping people so quickly, rapidly into the blockchain. Partnership comes at a time when the seafood industry has been recording massive growth in the U.S. due to the pandemic. Most restaurants have remained shut down for months. This has forced U.S. citizens to prepare seafood at home, sparking a surge in seafood retail sales. As per Nielsen data, seafood was the fastest growing supermarket category in May this year. In addition, Americans have traditionally loved seafood, spending over $100 billion a year, according to NCBI data. Now, I know I like some seafood, so I can understand that. And people do love salmon. But there's a lot of good seafood out there. And I know they eat, they're the bottom feeders, shrimp and lobster. I don't eat lobster like that. I may eat some shrimp, but don't judge me. You see we spending on money on seafood. I'm not the only one. It's 100 billion a year. Now, despite being one of the fastest growing industries, seafood still faces several challenges. One of these is mislabeling, which led to over 80% of consumers not meeting their seafood consumption recommendations in the past year. No Seafood believes it can change this using blockchain. Yes, they can. Vechain continues to target enterprise use. The Vechain Foundation latest partnership builds on the blockchain's firm enterprise use. The company has set the pace in targeting large companies seeking to integrate blockchain tech. In September, Vechain joined the China Animal Health and Food Safety Alliance as a council member. The alliance has 130 members, including the Chinese subsidiaries of Walmart, Starbucks, and McDonald's. Vechain is the sole blockchain tech provider to the alliance. Oh, that's so bullish. Now, customers confirm that Vechain is faster and easier to deploy than IBM Food Trust. Now, these are actual customers that were using IBM, but since have been changed by Vechain. And they say it's better. Vechain, America's CEO, recognizes that Google, IBM, and Amazon bring legitimacy to the blockchain industry with their involvement in the sector. According to customers of Vechain, the tool chain is faster and easier to deploy than IBM's Food Trust. Ooh, that's good. I first got into blockchain via Bitcoin way back in 2011. Oh, I don't know. He said, I bought my first Bitcoin at only $10, unfortunately. I sold the top 100 missed. The boat on Ethereum was mining XRP in 2013 when it was 0.0001, but lost my password. Good for you. Needless to say, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, but Vechain wasn't one of them. That's great. So, you hear what it is. Vechain. Jim Breyer even said it. AI. Vechain. He didn't say that. I added that part. Microsoft, IBM, and Google compete with Vechain. Rockwood worked informally for Vechain during 2018. After 1 year, he became a formal part of the blockchain company's team. There, he has contact with a wide range of customers that use Vechain solutions to improve their business management. One of my favorite things about working with Vechain is the sheer variety of clients I talk to in the course of a day. Anyone can use toolchain. So in the course of a day, I'm speaking, for example, to seafood companies, cannabis companies, fashion brands, consulting agencies, etc. It's incredibly diverse. So this shows you, wow, how much is really going on Vechain right now. There's a lot of people using it. Even I knew, I found out that I was using it at Adidas. This is bullish. Vechain's American CEO also added that the industry is diversifying in terms of the different blockchain solutions offered by companies such as Google, Microsoft, Amazon, IBM, among others. The entire industry benefits from these names getting involved. They give legitimacy and scale to the industry. However, Rockwood believes that Vechain will be one of the behemoths of the future. Ooh. I'm just going to leave that right there because that's bullish. Vechain enables the EHCert app to go beyond COVID-19, records and onboards another hospital in Cyprus. Wow. Vechain. I got to get some more Vechain. This is crazy. Man. Shouts out to Sparks Flames for doing what she does. She's a beast. And together, we are beastful. Anyways, December 3rd, 2020, Nicosia, Cyprus. COVID-19 pandemic showed the world the value of digital tech and demonstrated their increasingly vital role in healthcare. Why? Because that was planned to do that. During 2020, Vechain alongside Idante collaborated to work on blockchain-enabled medical solutions, co-developing the eHCert app and archival solution for COVID-19 and antibody test records. The solution was implemented at the Mediterranean Hospital of Cyprus, and between June to August, recorded the test results of more than 8,000 people who subsequently used them as part of the flight arrival process at the international airport of Larnaca. Driven by proven value in a real-world setting, the eHCert app is now launching its latest iteration, a digital lab test wallet offering an ecosystem of blockchain-enabled services, bringing medical test results to the hand of patients whilst healthcare authorities maintain the integrity of the data. After demonstrating efficacy in the Mediterranean Hospital of Cyprus, another top-of-the-line private medical facility, Artesio Hospital, has joined the Vechain ecosystem and integrated the eHCert app throughout its lab testing services. Wow. Vechain has a lot going on. Here's the eHCert and Vechain as an instrument for patient, hospital, and government. So the patient goes to the lab hospital. The lab doctor takes from the patient the lab test sample. The doctors of the lab complete the analysis. The prescribing doctor receives the results. Who can analyze the results? The patient can share his or her lab test results with any other doctor. The patient can check the results anytime, anywhere. The patient receives a notification that the results are available in the eHCert app. That's big. That is big. And this is what you need. This is what you need. This is what we need as of even patients. We need to be able to have our records. How many times did you wish you had your x-rays for your teeth and you didn't have it? Now you got to go through all this extra stuff because they don't want to send it over. You know what it is. This is where blockchain tech comes into play. And this is why I'm bullish on Vechain and why I even talk to you about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in, for liking, subscribing, sharing the content. As I mentioned before, we have a Patreon group. I think that it brings a lot of value. And this is what I've been told by actual Patreons. If you're a little shaky and you're new to a cryptocurrency and you want somebody who's going to bring you the truth in regards to facts and research with me and the team, ladies and gentlemen, click the link. There's 3 tiers for you to choose. Get some knowledge, save some money, save some mistakes, and accelerate your learning curve with Bigger Than Raise. You know who this is. This is your boy, Brando. Investigate truth on your own terms.